Hello everyone, it's Lindsay, and today I'm finally here with week 2 of December daily. This will be days 9 through 16. If you missed days 1 through 8, I will link that video down below, as well as any process videos that I have done along the way. So you'll find those down in the description box. I don't know about you, but I kind of developed a love-hate relationship with this project. I love how the end result is coming together. I know I'm going to love it when it's finished, but the process is killing me. So I'm continuing to be a week behind, and I know I'm going to be even further behind because we're heading into the holiday weekend, and so I know some of you can relate to that. So I'm just going to take my time and enjoy it, and I'll kind of talk about how that has evolved over time. So like I said, you can find days 1 through 8. I will link those down below. So day 8 was this one here with my ornaments and this tag. So going into day 9, I'm working with the back of that tag, and so rather than having it tie in with day 9, I just let the back of the tag just be a statement piece. I had these like shaker bits that I had gotten from Peachy Deals, something like that, on Instagram. I'll link them down below. And these are the Snow and Cocoa shaker elements, and I wasn't quite sure where I was going to tie those in, and so I figured I might as well just go ahead and add it in and use it. So I did add that in, and rather than like stitch or sew or do whatever to the top of it, I just put a piece of washi tape and called it good. Added a few little word strips from the Tim Holtz Christmas, I can't remember what they're called. I'll link them down below, but basically he scanned in different like book pages, and these are actual like snippings out of those book pages, and so I just added a couple of those to the back of the tag. So day 9 is a day, you're gonna see a lot of these where we didn't have any events, nothing crazy going on, just kind of my day-to-day life. And so I have a photo of my boys' tree. We do have 2 trees, and that's kind of what I talk about in the story down here, is how we got a second tree last year, and so this year they're able to decorate their own tree however they want. And so they have split it in half. They each have their own half. There's ornaments in all kinds of random places. They put random ornaments on there. It is lopsided and patchy and crazy looking, and I try to just let it go. It's their tree. That I talk about in the story, you know, at night when the lights are all off and the tree lights are on, you can't tell all of that is happening, and it still just looks like, you know, the warm glow of a Christmas tree. So that's just really simple. This was a piece that I printed from Photoshop, and I made the background was supposed to be black. My printer is kind of printing funny, with white text, and adhered it to a piece of scrapbook paper from Felicity Jane. This was a card from Felicity Jane, and then just added the number from Felicity Jane as well. And then this is just a die cut piece from the Merry Days collection, just to add a little bit more detail, but kept it very, very simple. On the back side here is day 10, and I totally pulled an Allie Edwards. I wanted to have this little like flip up piece with the vellum, and as I started assembling it, I remembered that I'm on the back side of my pocket page, where the photo actually slips in on this side, not on this side. So this mechanism won't work with how the pocket page is set up. So I did have to go ahead and cut the pocket page all the way through. I left it attached at either end. That way I could go ahead and create this little vellum overlay. It does make it a little bit flimsy when you're, you know, flipping through the book, but it's okay. There's a good amount still attached here, and I think it'll be fine. So for day 10, again, another one of those days where there's no events. And so I took a photo. This is actually my computer desk and my coffee mug. And in the story, I just talked about, you know, this is my life. A lot of the time is either in front of the camera or in front of the computer, editing, filming, blog writing, posting, researching, linking, all that stuff is just the unglamorous part of what I do here on YouTube and my blog. And so I just talk about that. And I talk about, you know, with this project, I'm really trying to juggle not just creating activities for my family just because I think it's going to be a good page in this album. If I have 3 or 4 days in a row where we're not doing anything, you know, fun or adventurous, I feel like I need to do something so that I have photos and stories to tell in this album, and that's not what it is about. It's about telling just the simple everyday stories. So This card here is from Felicity Jane, and this is the Holly girl from the Holly kit, and I knew there really wasn't anywhere else in the album that I thought that I would use it, so I went ahead and used it for this photo here. My coffee mug says Hot Mess. It was a gift from a friend of mine. And then this vellum piece I got in my Wild Hare kit. This is from the Merry Days collection, and adhered the day number there. And then I cut up my journaling and added it. And this is actually the back side of this Felicity Jane paper, and I just left it because the reds went with the card that I was using. So there is day 10. Day 11 was an idea that I had seen, I think, on Pinterest. It was a combination of Pinterest and Allie Edwards, one of her past albums. And so I used one of the pocket inserts from Felicity Jane and dressed it up with some papers. This is from Merry Days. This is from Felicity Jane. And then some pieces from Merry Days, and created these tags. I've been getting so much use out of that nested tag die. I'll link it down below. I just cut these out of white cardstock, used some of the trimmings that were in the Felicity Jane Holly kit, and made tags that my kids could fill out their name, their age, what they're thankful for, and what they're hoping for. And so this will be kind of fun to look back in future years and kind of see what were the things that they were thankful for. Like Aiden is thankful for his puppy Mabel, and then Connor had a whole list of things, and you know, the gifts that they're hoping for. So it'll just kind of be fun to see how that evolves and changes. I wanted to make these so that they would stay a little bit more snug, because these pockets are nice and roomy if you want to stick a lot in there, but for just these 2 tags, I only have 2 kids. It's not like I have 6 tags to fit in here or something. I thought about paper clipping it, but my issue was on the back side I have this full page photo, and I didn't want the paper clip to interfere with this photo, so they're kind of just loosely hanging out in here. If you guys have an idea, leave a comment down below, just a way to make these fit just a little bit more snug in there so they're not flopping around when you turn the page. But on the back side here is day 12, and this is actually on the date. Most of my stories have been told on the date, so December 12th. And this was a moment that I posted about on Instagram. It was a photo I took in my backyard, and in Photoshop I just added the text, Find the Joy, and printed it to the size of this pocket insert and adhered that down. And then for my storytelling, I actually just copied my copy from my Instagram post and just printed that out, because I told the story of what this photo is, and you know, finding joy and what that means to me and what that's going to look like in 2019. And so rather than rewrite the story, I just went ahead and printed that straight out on here. This Magical Moments is a card that I got from lilypad.com, I think. I'll link it down below. I tried to find some digital journaling cards to use in this project, and I'm looking here and seeing that there was like an emoji or something that I had in my post, and it just left like a little blank square, and that's okay. There's places in here where there's words left out or misspelled, and I don't worry about reprinting it. I leave it. It is what it is. Down here I just used a piece of pattern paper from Felicity Jane. And this is actually some of the tissue packaging from the Felicity Jane Holly kit, and I just made this little half rosette, punched out some glitter paper, used a sticker from Felicity Jane, and just made a filler card to go with this page. On the back side of that is still day 12, and so that evening I decided to go ahead and do this separately because it's like 2 different events really. And so that evening they had an event at our church, and so I'm just telling the story about that event and just how we're, you know, trying to get the boys to really focus on serving and that aspect of Christmas rather than the gift giving and receiving part of Christmas. And then this was a photo taken. They did free photos with Santa, which my family doesn't do Santa, but they sucked it up, believe, for 30 seconds so we could get a nice photo for December Daily, of course. So they were just these really, really nice professional photos. They're both smiling. It was a good picture, so that worked out. So that's still day 12 there. For day 13, it was one of those days where we weren't doing anything, and so I've been kind of going through Pinterest trying to find filler stories that people are doing in their December Daily, and movies was one of them. So I used this transparency. This is from Felicity Jane. used one of the die cuts from Felicity Jane, and I actually stapled that December piece on there. That way I didn't have to worry about adhesive on the back side. And then it says December movie lineup. I've got my day 13. This little star paper clip is from Felicity Jane, and some ribbon from Felicity Jane, all Felicity Jane on there. And then here is where I did the movies that we are watching. And so this is one of those insert pages from Felicity Jane. It came in a pack with several different ones, like that pocket page, the open up page, and then there was this one with the circles. And I've seen some really creative ways to do these as like windows and things like that. But I just went ahead and found the movie posters for 6 different movies that we watched and sized them down to these circles, and they're not perfect as you can see, but went ahead and stuck those down. This is one of those moments where I was really pushing to get this project done. I was trying to get the video out last weekend, and so I was working late into the night, doing multiple days at a time, and this is one of those pages I was not happy with because I was just throwing things at it, trying to get it done, and so it doesn't exactly match the transparency that goes with it, because these are pieces from the Snow and Cocoa line, so it's not great. I added some washi detail, kind of just sprinkled the stickers around. I wasn't really sure what to do with this page once I got the photos in there. I really struggled with the white space, so I don't love how this one came out, and so I've learned since then, if I'm having one of those moments or having one of those nights where it's just not working for me, to walk away and not worry about it, not force it. I can always come back to it. There are people who are still working on last year's December Daily and even 2016's December Daily, so it's okay if it doesn't get done. All right, day 14. My plan is to get photos up on my blog of each one of these, and so you may want to go check this one out over on my blog so you can see the Dear Santa letter that I wrote. Day 14 again was another one of those days where we didn't really do anything, and so I kept seeing everybody was doing these Dear Santa pages, and there was this Dear Santa piece in the Felicity Jane stickers, and we don't do Santa. We've never done Santa with the boys, and so I was really struggling with all of these kits have Santa elements to them, and we just don't do Santa at all. And so actually I wrote a letter to Santa about, you know, I don't like him. I don't like the idea of him. I'd rather my kids focus on Jesus. I think it's interesting how parents find it so easy to convince their children to believe in Santa but not to believe in Jesus. And so I kind of just talk about that in the letter. So you may want to go ahead and check out that photo over on my blog. Leave me comments. I'm sure some of you don't agree, and that's okay. We can have conversations in the comments about that. But I just went ahead and just kind of took a different approach to that Dear Santa page. And then for the opposite side, I just use it kind of as a filler page. So this is a pocket page that I've just cut out different pattern papers, used some of the chipboard pieces from the Merry Days collection, and some die cut pieces from the Merry Days collection, and called it good. Day 15 has several pages, and so I kind of broke them up. We went to my dad and his wife's house for the weekend, and so this page here is our kind of setting out for our trip. It's about 2.5 hours to his house, so I tell the story that morning we went and got the boys' haircuts, and then we stopped at one of their favorite little farms on the way up and got treats and things, and so took some photos during that little stop. One thing I figured out through this is that my front-facing camera on my phone is not all that great, and so I've been a little bit frustrated with the quality of my photos through this project, and I'm just sucking it up and printing them out. I'm not getting too caught up in whether they are perfect or not, and I'm just printing them, trying to do as much editing as I can, but just leaving them how they are and not worry about it. So this here was a card that I printed on photo paper from Photoshop, and I found a digital card that had these lines on it, and then I added the stamping using one of the Felicity Jane stamp sets. And then for this one here, I kind of wanted to break up because this is still day 15, but it's kind of just a different story of that day. So I went ahead and left that as its own spread, and then for the back side, just used a filler page. And I really love these Felicity Jane fleece or not fleece, felt stars, and I wanted to kind of sprinkle them throughout my project. But here we're day 15, we're already halfway through the project, and I hadn't used them yet, and I don't want to hoard them. I didn't want to end up with 1 or 2 left over, so I decided to just go ahead and use all of them on this page. So I did some hand stitching, used a pattern paper from Felicity Jane, added those stars and the number there, and this is actually adhered to the outside of this 6x8 pocket, and I wanted that texture and I wanted that 3D element to really show through rather than putting it into the pocket. So this is day 15 as well, and so here is where I'm telling the story of the cookie decorating that we did, and I had plenty of story to tell. I got a snapshot of just the few. I think that my stepmom made it like 150 cookies, so this is just a little glimpse into it, but my dad and I really are creative in trying to think of different ways to use the traditional shapes and things that aren't necessarily Christmas. So he made Squidward from SpongeBob and Patrick the Starfish, and this is actually a bell cutout that he made Squidward with, and then I did the little goldfish out of the ornament, a cactus out of a mitten, and then my son tried to copy the cactus. So we just had a lot of fun decorating the cookies, and so there's just a few of them. And then we had several pictures of just that day, and so rather than put them small and in a pocket page, I decided to do this pull out element. So I actually these are printed on photo paper, and so it is actually photos back to back, so it's nice and substantial, and then I just used washi tape in between them to create this mechanism here, and I sized it so that this one I think is like 7 inches, and then these are 6 1/4 wide. That way when it folds in, it doesn't hit the rings here. So we got a photo of my boys making cookies, a photo of my boys with a couple of their finished cookies, and then a family photo of those of us kids that were there with my dad. We were missing my sister and her husband and my husband, but we got a big chunk of us there, and so I got to kind of write about that using some pieces from the Merry Days collection. And then the Merry Days cardstock stickers has these little half circles, and so I actually backed those to back to use as a tab. That way you have that to hold on to. On the back of the page here, technically these photos here were from day 15, but I went ahead and just put them with day 16. My dad, he always has all kinds of toys, and he's an adrenaline junkie and has all kinds of things, and so the newest toy was a Harley, so he took the boys out on a Harley ride. So I have a photo of each one of them with my dad and the bike, and then of course I had never been on a motorcycle, so he went ahead and took me out as well. So lots and lots of fun on that, and so you can see how that just folds all up nice. And then for day 16, I just have the card from Felicity Jane with the numbers. Again, this is one of those digital cards that I had found online. I'll link it down below, and I just overlaid my journaling over the top of that. And then the morning of the 16th, my dad was teaching the boys how to ride like grown-up bikes, since all they have are like small bikes that they're too big for. And so I just took a quick photo of that. So there is a look at all the way up to day 16. Of course, when you are seeing this, we are just have Christmas around the corner, so I am a week behind, but that's okay. Hopefully next week I'll get caught up. I am going all the way to day 31, so I'm excited to continue documenting and getting some more photos in here. You can check out the description box down below for links to anything that I mentioned. If I missed something in that, you can probably pick it up from one of the past videos as well, with those links underneath the video. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave those down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. And until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.